Yesterday, obviously, Drew Brees stole the headlines with a Yahoo Finance interview that began on, I believe, Brees' thoughts of franchising, which Brees is an investor in a couple of franchises, including walk-ons, which originated right here in Baton Rouge, and Jimmy John's, to name another one. Brees was asked, and here's the sound from it yesterday with the question on Yahoo Finance with Drew Brees sitting in.
Back now at Kaepernick's protests from a few years ago, and obviously they were always about police brutality, and now it's coming back to the fore, and a lot of people expect that we will see players kneeling again even when the NFL season starts. I'm curious how you think the NFL will and should respond to that, and of course, you're such a leader in the league. What is your responsibility as a leader in times like this for the rest of your teammates and players in the league?
Well, I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. Let me just tell you what I see or what I feel when the national anthem is played and when I look at the flag of the United States. I envision my two grandfathers who fought for this country during World War II, one in the Army and one in the Marine Corps, both risking their lives.
So the problem there is, well, whatever. I don't want to say the problem there. My opinion on hearing that, right, is that the dude even set him up. Like, it was such a softball question. He even said in the question, obviously, it was about police brutality, and then the first place Drew Brees goes is to the flag, and in that way, like I said, he represents many Americans. But like we keep talking about, right, the flag may represent different things to different people based on their life experience. And this is something that Malcolm Jenkins and Mike Thomas and Cam Jordan, LeBron James and Ed Reed, I mean, the list goes on and on. Everybody who's commented on this is what they're trying to make Drew realize. And so in that way, like, I don't, like I said, it's not a mouse. I don't blame Drew. I think it's more of a blind spot. It comes from a place of ignorance. Because when you look at his experience, Drew Brees has built an empire, and he's built it on his hard work, right? Like, he fought tooth and nail, and his dedication is legendary, obsessive, and he's had so much success. So his experience in America's been really great to him, right? And he's never dealt with like racial profiling stuff. Neither have I. So who am I to talk about this stuff? But then I had David Grubb on yesterday, and he's talking about a police officer pointed a gun at him in his own home. He's talking about being pulled over and like patted down and all these things that I just never experienced. And a lot, when he was talking yesterday, a lot of people were like, "Get him off the air." It's just, blah, blah. It's like, well, why does that make you so upset? Why, like, and if it does make you so upset, it's probably something you need to address. And the problem with this idea that my biggest issue philosophically with all of this is this idea that America is perfect or you have to be 100% in line. Jordy, you have kids, right? I used this analogy yesterday. You have kids, right?
Yeah.
You can recognize the flaw in your kids. What is more annoying than the parent that thinks their kid is just absolutely perfect?
Nothing.
You can love your kid. You can think your kid's amazing. You can still want your child to improve in areas. America's the same way. And I would argue that if you look at empires of the past and you look at the country that we live in now, and you look at the totalitarian states of the past and you look at where we live now, the ability to legally, peacefully protest is what separates us from those states, from the empires of the past where you had to be full allegiance to the king or the emperor or any of these things. No, in America, you can have a voice. It's in the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting of establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So whether you agree with the grievances or not, that is their right, just like it's Drew Brees' right to state his opinion as well. But, I mean, as he has now seen, his opinion is offensive to many of his teammates because it makes it seem as if he is not listening to the grievances that they are trying to redress.
And that's how I took it. You know, I think that is Drew Brees' right to state his opinion. And who am I to tell Drew Brees that he is wrong for having that opinion? Yeah. Even if you don't share that same thought, it's his idea of what the flag means to him, and that's okay. The only thing that I would tell Drew Brees if I was advising him yesterday, do you think that this is the best time to make those comments in the climate of the world that we live in? And when you just look around, you are resided and you share a locker room with the majority of the people that are black, and you are going to make this comment, and it's probably going to cause an instant reaction that you're going to have consequences from. And I think that that's what Brees is dealing with. It's his opinion. He put it out there. Now it's out there to be talked about on social media. To me, look, my opinion on Brees is when I saw this, the first thing I thought was that he was not prepared for this question, because anytime you ask to request for Drew Brees for an interview, he makes sure his guy, his name is Chris Stewart, his personal assistant, who makes sure that they go over nearly every question that is going to be asked in that interview. And if there's something that they don't like, they will just say, he's not going to come. He's not coming on.
Yeah.
Or they will tell you, this is what we're going to talk about for the majority of the time. And yesterday, I think Brees was stepping into an environment, into an atmosphere where he wasn't going to have to deal with any of that. He was going to talk about business and finance with Yahoo, and they were talking about franchising.
Yeah, like
they were talking about franchise,
viable business.
And just on the way out, the guy was like, "Hey, let me just kind of pitch you a sports question."
He even said, obviously, it was about police brutality.
And you know what? Brees gave his honest opinion.
Yeah,
and
it's representative of about what feels like half the country in this point. But like in my mind, that's kind of what makes the country so great, right? And I guess my other issue with this, and so I've been kind of wrestling with myself, right? Would I have rather him done the more cynical PR thing and not said what he really believes, and just said, oh, like, you know, like said what would have been acceptable for everybody here? And no, I don't know that he would have. There would have been a lot less drama and would have been a lot less fallout for him to deal with, but things are so binary nowadays, so black and white, and so you're either here or you're here. Whereas like one of my guiding life philosophies is shades of gray and all that. I think it's...
So here you go.
I think it's okay. Well, and this is my point. I think having him be honest with his original opinion is almost important at these times, because then you have a conversation, right? And you can show growth potentially through that conversation.
Can we extend that? Can we see the full message, Danny?
Just full screen it, Danny. Get our faces off the screen there.
If you can see, because I want to be able to read.
You want me to read it? I'm right
I want
here.
to read the full statement. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is from Drew Brees' Instagram. When was this, Danny? 3 minutes ago? I would like to apologize to my friends, teammates, the city of New Orleans, the black community, NFL community, anyone I hurt with my comments yesterday. In speaking with some of you, it breaks my heart to know the pain that I've caused. In an attempt to talk about respect, unity, and solidarity centered around the American flag and the national anthem, I made comments that were insensitive and completely missed the mark on the issues we are facing right now as a country. They lacked awareness and any type of compassion or empathy. Instead, those words have become divisive and hurtful and have misled people into believing that somehow I am an enemy. This could not be further from the truth and is not an accurate reflection of my heart or my character. This is where I stand. I stand with the black community in the fight against systemic racial injustice and police brutality, and support the creation of real policy change that will make a difference. I condemn the years of oppression that have taken place throughout our black community and still exist today. I acknowledge that we as Americans, including myself, have not done enough to fight for that equality or to truly understand the struggles and plight of the black community. I recognize that I am part of the solution and can be a leader for the black community in this movement. I will never know what it's like to be a black man or raise black children in America, but I will work every day to put myself in those shoes and fight for what is right. I have always been an ally and never an enemy. I am sick about the way my comments were perceived yesterday, but I take full responsibility and accountability. I recognize that I should do less talking and more listening. When the black community is talking about their pain, we all need to listen. For that, I'm very sorry and ask your forgiveness. And look, you can sit there as I read that and react to it right now. I mean, you can sit there and be cynical about that and say, well, that's very PR, and he just put that out there. But no, I take it at face value, because I could tell with his comments to Tripoli yesterday, he's kind of like, whoa, like, where's this coming from, right? Like, actions speak louder than words. And I've been like a good teammate, a good friend. Like I've tried to support the city. So like I said, nothing was done out of malice. And that's why I like that he was honest yesterday, because now he had conversations with Malcolm Jenkins about his experiences, right? And Mike Thomas and these other players. And honestly, that's how we all grow, is by at least being willing to talk and listen to each other. And so, yeah, I think I don't know. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I think that is, like I said, I think Drew walked into an interview yesterday where he was thinking he was talking about business. He was asked a football question on the way out, gave his honest opinion on how he felt, didn't expect the consequence to be what it was. But just from where we are in the environment and the atmosphere, words are very delicate right now. And the way that they sit is going to cause reaction. And that's what happened to Brees yesterday. And for him to come out and apologize, I believe that apology.
I do too.
You know, I believe that he is sincere in the feelings that he didn't mean to offend his teammates to the point that he did, right? I think if he could have that moment back, he could have that moment back, he would take it back. But, you know.
Because like I said, if you look at the content of the message, free of the context of Kaepernick and what it represents, like just the content is it's good. It's really beautiful. It's nice. And it is about unity and coming together as a country and wanting what's best for America. It's just when you combine it with the fact that what Kaepernick was specifically protesting, all that narrative got kind of hijacked and shifted into, is it disrespecting the flag? Is it not? So that's where the problem came in. That's where the blind spot came in and the ensuing fallout. But it sounds like, imagine that. He had some good conversation with people who felt differently than him and learned some things. Like we all could.
Yeah. And look, man, I am okay with disagreement, good conversation, and coming back to the table and talking more. And you don't have to agree when you get up and leave the next time.
Yeah. You don't.
This is what I think this is one of the big positives that could come out of the last week and a half, is getting to the table, sitting down, talking, and everybody listening, right?
Yeah.
Drop the hate, drop the fight, drop the anger, and let's just talk and listen. And that discussion yesterday that Brees had, the comments that Brees put out yesterday, I thought was a nice fire starter, a nice lighter for a conversation. And here you are 24 hours later, not even 24 hours later, with a sincere apology and more stance on where he feels on the matter. It's a very delicate and fragile time in our country right now. And I think that Brees, the comments yesterday, you saw the backlash. I mean, you just saw it was wildfire. I mean, from his teammates, the national media, to around the country, to see the chance of FU Brees on I-10 or in the city of New Orleans while he is still an active player. I mean, come on. I would have put my life savings and everything that I've earned on the fact that will never happen. And to see that happening was just surreal.